Today I'm going to share a bunch of photographs from my travels in Japan, and most of them taken on my favourite 35mm f1.8 prime lens by Lumix. There's something really magical about the 35mm perspective and the people of Japan. They come together really, really well. It's really, really easy to overpack for a photography shoot, and I do this all the time. I've just been working on an expedition ship on a voyage around the main island of Japan, Honshu. I was shooting for the team at Heritage Expeditions and running a workshop aboard the ship. I brought with me a bunch of prime lenses because I like primes. I brought an 18mm, a 35mm, a 50mm and the 100mm macro. I also had my little Lumix G9 Mark II with the 100 to 400 telephoto lens on that, which is the equivalent of 200 to 800mm. I brought that one for shooting birds at sea off the back of the ship. The telephoto was just for birds, and I knew there might be one or two opportunities to get some seabirds on the trip. But mostly, I want to travel light, and I bring a very small camera bag for hitting the streets. As it turns out on this trip, I never even unpacked my 50mm lens. It's in there somewhere, I don't even know where it is. The 18mm did come out for the first few days, but it never really got used, so it stayed on the ship for the rest of the trip as well. The 100mm macro, however, that was on hand for those moments when I needed to compose a dragonfly or a flower. Macro photography in Japan is a lot of fun, especially in summer. So that was useful for close-up shots, and every so often it was also good for things like taiko performers or the dance groups at Kanazawa. But the 35mm was the sweet spot for me on this trip. This one lens captured the vast majority of my photographs for this journey. It's a great perspective for street scenes and to get a sense of a place. You want that wide establishing shot. You want to see where you are before you drill into the details. It's a good lens for street scenes when you want to hit the streets at night or just play with light and architecture. You get a wide enough view, but you can contain your compositions. You can choose whether to step back a little bit or to push in tighter. It was great in places like Japanese gardens when you want to push in close for tight moments as well as stepping back to take in the bigger scene. It also works really well for portraits. You get lots of context, but you can get close enough to your subject to really make them the hero of the shot. Japan is a very intentionally aesthetic place to visit. Everything is intentional in Japan. They do things for the sake of being beautiful. The gardens are designed intentionally. The entrance to a home is designed with intention. The placement of a bonsai is intentional. Buying a bag of tea, it will be presented in the most aesthetic possible way. There is detail and style to everything here. And as a photographer, that's just a lot of beauty to work with. choosing a focal length that suits your style, I think, is really important too. It can impact your photography in ways you may not even be aware of. Just the difference between 50mm and 35mm, for example. 50mm can push you too tight for a lot of street scenes, so you have to step back a lot more on subjects, and now you're less intimate. And compared to 35mm, you just have less room for composition. And that can all show in the final images. Context is so important for me. It's the number one reason I like shooting wide. And sometimes that means 35, and sometimes I go for 20mm, and sometimes I want to go even wider than that. But it's about context. It's about having room for composition. It's about what can I bring into the scene. And a 35mm is a very practical way to do that. The other thing with being closer to your subject, because you're shooting wider, is that you're generating intimacy. You are connected in a way that's a little bit different for when you're standing back. And certainly when you compare to a telephoto range, there is no intimacy with telephoto, but there is with 35mm. There's a lot of reasons why I like shooting with prime lenses instead of zooms. They are lighter, they are simpler, and I get bokeh. It is quality all the way. And I'm not out there trying to get every shot. Instead, I want to put my energy into getting some better shots. And primes let me do that. They help you to stop being lazy and to capture better compositions. And it's not about being convenient, because photography is not about convenient. If we want photography to be convenient, well, you can just get an AI to generate the picture for you. That's the most convenient way. Sometimes it means I have to zoom with my feet, but it means I'm thinking about the image and I'm thinking about my composition. Japan is a really stunning place for photographers, pretty much any style of photographer at that. Landscapes, urban, street, portraits, culture, you name it, there's something to reward you here in Japan. It's one of the great places to visit in the world. So having just finished my workshop on the expedition ship Heritage Adventurer, I'm looking forward to next year's, and I'm thinking about which 35mm I might be taking on that trip. I'll be back here in 2025, so if you're looking for a chance to explore Japan and learn a little bit about photography on the way, please have a look at the link to my website below and read more about the workshops I run with Heritage Expeditions. Thanks for joining me through this video, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little bit of Japan, and I hope it inspires you to want to come and travel here as well. Please have a look around some of the other videos on my channel. There are lots of videos here about the art of photography and how to connect with your creative side, because it's not all about the lens, it's actually about you and what you have to say with the camera. Have a great day.